Hey, it's Dane. I'll be profiling my Abyss Phantom Blaster Dragon Break Ride deck. So first we've got 4 copies of Phantom Blaster Abyss. You know what he does, he restands. Cool stuff. Next it's 4 copies of Phantom Blaster Dragon Break Ride. He's the new card from GBT03. Great card, just really have to be careful with the Soul Blast 3 cost for the Break Ride. And I'm checking in 1 copy of Revenger Dragleader.
Why are you?
Dragleader Phantom. He's a Revenger, so he works with the retire cost of Abyss, and he's a Phantom, so he works with Judge Bao, which I'm using as starting Vanguard, not David. And he's a good Break Ride target for Phantom Blaster Dragon, because his skill pings your opponent for damage, and then you've got the Glory skill that keeps getting 10k for every 2 retires, so you could get really huge, like 40 or 50k, and your opponent is like guaranteed 5 damage. And 9 grade 3s means strides. You get the stride fodder more often, and I'm not running the striders. 4 copies of Blaster Dragon Revenger Abyss because he's the mate, and he's got a great counterblast retire 1 skill. 3 copies of Vanguard to search out your fodder for your Legion, because on Legion you do get a grade 1 or less Revenger at rest. 3 copies of Dark Knight Maiden Maka. Amber Clone, she's good for calling out Karens and things like that. 1 copy of Adroit Revenger Trenon. He's a cool card where your Vanguard, every time it swings, your opponent needs to retire rear guard to guard. Now, he's not really viable in the traditional Abyss build with Mordred because it is counterblast heavy and does not have a consistent unflipper with the Blaster Dark Revenger and Dorn combo. But because you've got the Break Ride, which is unflip 3 damage, you effectively get the cost of both him and Abyss's restand in 1 ability, unflip 3. So it's only 1 copy. When you hit him, it's nice. When you don't, it doesn't really matter. But it's really good when you do get him. 4 copies of the new GPG Karma Collector, because even more unflip is great. 3 copies of Karen. I'd like to run this at 4 copies, but the great thing is, because you're running Legion, she is recyclable back into the deck. So I find 3 copies I run into are enough, and I can just recycle her back in, it's fine. 2 copies of Dark Heart Trumpeter. You need to be really careful with your soul here, because if you Aura Geyser to Soul Blast 1, then you Soul Blast with her, you're definitely not getting the amount of soul you need for the Break Ride. So I would only recommend using her if you Howl Owl, or you don't use Aura Geyser. So she can be a tricky card to pull off. 4 copies of Transient Revenger Masquerade, 10k beat stick for Revengers, great for the grade 2 game, great for, you can call grade 1s all day with this deck, so you can make a column of 17k easily by calling out him and another 7k. Just works really well. So starter Judge Bao. The reason I don't want to run David is because David just gets retired to the drop zone. Judge Bao actually goes into the soul to feed skills like Aura Geyser and Dark Heart and your Break Ride, which costs Soul Blast 3. And as always, he's a great starter. He gets you a +1 to field. Usually I'll use him to search out a Masquerade, Transient Revenger Masquerade, and a Karen to the field. So now we have triggers. 4 copies of Howl Owl, because soul is important in this deck. 4 copies Revenger Undead Angel, crits win you games. And more crits, Airy Dragon, and 4 heal. It's important that you have as many triggers as possible be Revenger, because you do potentially have to sack Revenger triggers for the restand, which isn't so terrible as it sounds. So we have our Stride units. 2 Aura Geyser. You don't need more than 2 of him. He gets you pluses, and that keeps you good for the rest of the game.
Are you going to run Generation Rare from Step 4 when it comes out?
I'm still iffy on that. The funny thing about that Generation Rare is he needs to drive check grade 1s to get his retire skill off, but by the time you're going to actually stride into him, it's pretty late game, and by then you've already superior called a lot of grade 1s from your deck, so you're a lot less likely to get his retire skill off.
So maybe run 1?
No, but even then, he's going to be your second stride, which is kind of late game, and by then you either have drawn your grade 1s or superior called them to the field. So if you don't get his retire 2 off on your opponent's side of the field, or even retire 1, he's a lot less valuable, I think. So I just generally don't like him. 4 copies of Dark Dragon, Phantom Blaster, Diablo.
The devil himself?
Yeah. Even if you don't use his retire 3 skill, just the fact that he gets a 10k and a crit just for Counterblast 1, Persona Flip 1 is great push for game, whether you use the retire or not. If they don't have the perfect guard, it's usually really difficult to guard. 1 copy of Dark Knight Grim Recruiter on hit, Superior Call grade 1. Great for getting your Karens, great for getting your Transfer Avenger Masquerades for 10k beater. Just gets a lot of good things. And then 1 copy of Rain Element Madu. She works because you are in Legion. You'll have a heart card with your Phantom Blaster, not Phantom Blaster, but Blaster Dark Abyss being 10k or less in the heart. So when she is placed on Vanguard Circle, he'll be part of the heart, and you can get grade 3 from your drop zone. So that is pretty much it. Please like and subscribe, and if you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comments section, and I'll be happy to answer them.
And don't forget to subscribe.
Yes.